Hello there, and welcome once again to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City, and this is our show for November 2015. In our first segment, we're going to meet one of the finest officers you've ever heard about. Her name is Kaylen Washbourne, and she is a member of the Oklahoma City Police Department. Welcome to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you, Mayor.
And you are the Fraternal Order of Police Officer of the Month, so
Yes.
Congratulations
Thank
about
you.
that. And I was going through my notes, and although I'm sure you dealt with 100 different situations during this time period that we're going to discuss, there was one specific issue that kind of drew our attention, and I assume drew the FOP's attention too. So I'm going to just go through some of the details here, and then you can kind of contact or just kind of fill in the blanks wherever you think.
Okay.
So you run into a person who is suicidal, off their medication, becomes increasingly unpredictable and violent, and this is the series of events that you interacted with. This person robbed a bank at 39th and Lincoln, then carjacked a Mercedes at gunpoint, and at that point, that was broadcast to all units. And so this is at this point, a highly volatile situation. You started looking for the suspect and the vehicle and found it in a business at 36 and Spring Lake Drive, notified dispatch, waited for backup officers, set up a perimeter around the business, and the suspect tried to escape. Is that pretty much a decent
bones,
scenario?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's go through it from there. What happens there? Now, has backup arrived yet?
There were several of us very close in the area. I mean, by no means was it just me looking for this guy. I mean, we all were very concerned, definitely for the public safety. If this guy's on a crime spree, we had no idea what his
Right.
target was. So there were several of us in the area, and we had been checking a house that he was staying at. We had left that, and it was very close to that gas station at 36 and Spring Lake Drive. And I happened to see the car, and I notified dispatch, like you said, and then we all just kind of converged on the gas station.
And he didn't surrender.
Well, it was funny. He was actually inside trying to buy some snacks, because when you're on a crime spree, you get hungry, I guess.
Okay.
And so he was in there, and I guess he could see out through the window all the police cars come into the parking lot. We could see the car, but at that time we didn't know if he was in the car or inside.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually comes around the side of the gas station as we're approaching. I have no idea why I guess he was trying to get back to the car. He sees us. He's actually in a wig trying to disguise himself, but we had several pictures of him. I knew what his face looked like. And we see him, and he just, boom, takes off the back. Well, thankfully, since we did have so many officers around, the building was fairly surrounded, and we were able to get him before he hopped the fence and take him into custody.
And so no further damage was done. I mean, the carjacking had taken place, and the bank had been robbed, and people had been fearful, obviously.
Right.
But at that point, the suspect was apprehended.
Yes, and thankfully nobody got hurt during that whole ordeal or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing this stuff happens more often than a lot of people would recognize.
Oh, so often. I feel really silly being singled out, because so many officers go above and beyond every day, do even more than this, and they don't ever get recognized. So I'm thankful that I did receive this award, but there's so many that do so much every day.
Mm-hmm. And talk about the evolution of the technology that you're dealing with today. I'm guessing the typical beat cop of the 1940s or 50s didn't have nearly the resources that you're able to tap into today.
Oh, and just the immediacy of the information that we get.
Yeah, well, for instance, you said you knew who it was. Okay,
Right.
this person's robbed a bank and stolen a car. It's not like he left a business card. How did you know who this person was?
That all transpired during day shift hours when he robbed that first bank. I believe detectives and those officers that worked that were able to very quickly get a description and found out that it was the suspect. And we, at lineup, before we even started our shift, had a picture of him already.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fast work. And it takes a certain amount of groundwork to be able to determine who someone is just based on the description and the bank and probably the MO.
Right.
Okay, so how else does technology deal with your job? And let's say you've pulled somebody over and you're in your car and they're in their car. what are you going to do first? I mean, I assume you're going to do some sort of background check before you exit your vehicle.
Well, we run the tag before we do a traffic stop, and that gives us some basic information. But a lot of times, the car might check to somebody, the owner, but that's not the person driving. So you never really know. I think you definitely don't want to use technology as a crutch. You can kind of lose some of your safety standards that you might have. So first thing, you know, I approach, make sure that you're safe and you get their driver's license, and then that way you have that positive identification. And then we can do a lot. We can see what they've been pulled over for, you know, if they have any warrants possibly for their arrest, and kind of go from there.
Now, the average ordinary honest citizen is not your worry. I mean, you may interact with them and have to give them a ticket sometime, but that's not probably going to impact your safety. It's the unexpected.
Right.
And how are you trained to deal with someone who may not be of sound mind and body at the time that you're interacting with them?
Right. And that, you said unexpected. We have to expect the unexpected every single day when we go out there. But, you know, our main thing is safety, or at least our training just pounded that into us, which I'm so thankful for, because as you can see in our nation, there's a lot of officers that are getting hurt, and safety has to be the priority. So we go home at night every shift. But when we're dealing with the public, and I try to tell people, we're people just like you. We happen to wear this uniform, but we have been trained and we're employed by the city and we have a job to do. But we want to make sure you're safe as well. So a lot of times if we yell or we're telling you to do something that might not make sense, we're doing it for your safety as well as ours, because we don't want to have to use unnecessary force if we don't have to. Now, if you're not going to comply, and we're going to have to do what we have to do. But a lot of times people don't understand that when we're telling you to do something, it's for your benefit as well as ours. But yeah, like you said, the everyday citizen, we're there to help you. No, we really are. We didn't sign up to this job just to put people in jail all the time. I mean, that we have to do that sometimes, but we're here to help. And but yeah, we deal with a lot of people that are off medication or are having some type of mental breakdown.
Right.
And you just have to deal with that case by case, because they're different every time.
You also have to deal with a lot of people that are having some sort of social stress. It could be financial. It could be a domestic issue. How is the sensitivity training and trying to deal with a situation where no two are going to be alike?
Right.
Yeah.
When we get a lot of training every year, we have updates and situations. You know, they'll try to give us scenarios and go through them, but you can't ever, until you're actually doing it, understand and know, because each one is so different. But that just takes time and experience to kind of read people and deal with that. But you do have to be aware that they are people. We all know that their struggles, family stuff that they might not have even told anybody, and today was their day that they totally had a breakdown, and we happened to come in contact with them. You know, and I would hate for the first time that they came into contact with the police to be a bad one. You know, I'm going to respect you as long as you respect me, and that's how I try to deal with people on a day-to-day basis.
We have an issue in this city with domestic violence. We're doing what we can to try and break down some of the barriers and try to dissect how these situations ultimately escalate. But I would expect, as a woman, perhaps you have a better chance of getting someone who might be abused to tell you what's really going on and that you might understand. Do you find that the case?
Certain times, you definitely have to play to your strengths. You know, I'm not 6'4" and 250. I understand that. So you have to know what your strengths are, and hopefully I can talk somebody into a situation or out of a situation maybe better than another officer who I will want him to come if we need to, you know, really deal with somebody that's out of control. But sometimes, you know, I have very good male partners, and that female will open up to them and feel comfortable with them. It all just depends. But usually, yeah, definitely on a domestic violence, you separate them, and you each get the story of both halves, and you go from there and try to just have the best outcome. Because I just tell people, I don't want to have to come back here. I want to help you so we can stop this cycle, so we can just end it here and get a good outcome from it.
Well, and I hope people that are watching this will understand the increased awareness of the domestic violence problems and how we're trying to do better. And as you pointed out, you don't want to come back. A lot of times when our police come back a second or third time to a domestic violence household, it didn't turn out, nearly as cooperative as it might have the first time. So if you suspect domestic violence, if you are currently feel like you're a victim of domestic violence, check out the resources available. Get in touch with the police department. They can get in touch with those that can help you. And we want to get you out of that situation before it turns into a violent situation. But in the meantime, Kaylen Washbourne, thanks very much
Thank you, Mayor.
for coming on the Mayor's Magazine, exposing what it's like to be a police officer in the day-to-day environment in Oklahoma City, and thanks for your service to the citizens of this city.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, we'll have more on the Mayor's Magazine right after this.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. In this segment, we're going to continue our look at public safety, and we have Deputy Chief Tom Jester from the Oklahoma City Police Department here.
Hi, Mayor.
It's a big time for you guys because we are opening up a brand new police headquarters downtown.
It's very exciting to be opening up a new facility.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. It's been, what, over 60 years since we've had a brand new major police station?
Yeah, that building that we're in now has pieces of it from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and it's been cobbled together over the years.
Yeah.
Had lots and lots of problems, and so we're excited about being in a new building.
Well, when people think about, the wear and tear on a building, they might think of some office building or something where people are generally there 9 to 5 and behaving themselves. And then you think of a police station. I mean, it's 24/7,
Right.
365 days a year, and all sorts of different activities, take place in there. And so the idea that we've gotten over 60 years of use out of that building, we should probably consider ourselves pretty fortunate.
Yes, and technology has changed a lot. That old building didn't have any kind of fire suppression in it, and the HVAC systems were just a disaster. The electrical systems were running at over 100% of their capacity, and so it was just, the maintenance was becoming a real problem. So we're pretty excited, and it all started in 2007 with the bond issue.
That's right. The citizens of Oklahoma City stepped up, passed a bond issue, and amongst the capital projects was a brand new police station, which will be very close to the old police station just across the street. So people were aware of that. If you're not aware of where it was, then it's just west of the Civic Center Music Hall in that general area within a few feet. So what's this police station going to provide our officers that's not provided currently?
Well, the old station was wore out. The mechanicals were in bad shape. People were bringing space heaters every day, and then we'd have days when it got hot and the air conditioners wouldn't work. Everybody would want to go out into the field and do their work to get out of the hot building. Like I said, there was no fire suppression. There wasn't enough interview rooms. There wasn't enough conference rooms. And it was designed in such a way where the police were mixing with, the public. It was designed in such a way where the public was going up to the second floor, kind of the core of the building, to do business with us, which is really not a very good idea for the safety of the building and the safety of the officers and the citizens that are there. So it was really an antiquated building, and it just did not work very well. But this building that we're in now is it's just unbelievable. ADG was the architects who designed it. Wynn is the construction company that built it. And I've been giving some tours. And when I do these tours, I'm very proud of everything about this building. And I've never had to say, don't look over there, because that didn't come out very good. This building is a 10 out of 10. It's going to be one of the prettiest city buildings that you've ever seen. And it's also going to function perfectly for us.
And how much larger is it than the previous?
It's 88,000 square feet, which is only about 11% bigger than the old headquarters building. However, it's designed in such a way where we've gotten rid of all the old spaces in the old building that didn't work very well. So even though it's not a lot bigger, we've actually built in growth for the next 30 or 40 or 50 years.
Because we have also, through the years, added what I'll call satellite facilities around the city to serve different jurisdictions. The
way the police department is built is the headquarters is mostly investigations and administration. The field operations are done out of the 4 briefing stations that are out in the field. So the uniformed officers out in the field, mostly investigators and then the administrators in the new headquarters building.
And the technology that your detectives are using is amazing, you know. And I don't know how much of, you know, what people see on television is real and how much of it is just created by Hollywood. But nonetheless, your ability to, you know, to focus in on people that are committing crimes is much enhanced.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that when I go to conferences, you know, we talk about the different technologies that we have and the different equipment that we have. Because of people like yourself and the city manager and the council has always supported law enforcement. So we have these good facilities, or great facilities now. And we also have a DNA lab, and we also have really high quality helicopters, and we've got MDTs or MDCs in our police cars. We have handheld devices that'll read fingerprints. And all of these things help us reduce crime. And I would like to take the opportunity now to tell you that we've reduced crime in the last few years in Oklahoma City significantly.
Yeah.
It's something that we're really proud of.
Absolutely. It spiked in 2012, but 2013, 2014 have been much improved.
Yep.
And in 2015, much more in line with traditional averages. So I think there has been, you know, significant improvement. Let me ask, though, about you know, where we go from here. I mean, because you know, it seems to me that, you know, the technology advancing like it has, and you know, and people are now, you know, putting greater scrutiny on our police officers than ever before, and we're equipping at least many of our police officers with cameras, you know, on their body cams, and so, you know, where is this headed? You know, this idea that we need, you know, more and more transparency in law enforcement.
When I first hired on, and I've got 30 years of service as of Sunday, so I'm just the opposite of the young officer that you just interviewed. I'm on the other end of the life cycle. But you see more and more people that don't trust their police departments. And whenever people lose trust, you start to lose legitimacy. And it becomes a problem because when they don't trust us, then they don't call us and they don't work with us. And 1,149 officers is what we're allotted for the police department. And even with all those, you can't really police a city this size unless you have the citizens behind you. You know, and right now, as you know, we do surveys and we have very strong support. But when something happens in another city, they kind of see it as all policemen being the same way, and it's really not true. So, but we would like to stay ahead of it. And even though when you ask me what our primary mission or function is to keep the community safe, but at the same time you have to balance that against making sure that you don't alienate your citizens at the same time, because we can write lots of tickets and we can put lots of people in jail and we can reduce crime, but if the citizens don't trust you and don't want to be around you and won't support you, then you really haven't done your job. So we do through, you know, community outreach, and one of the things that with these body-worn cameras, they're going to be able to give us more transparency so the citizens can see what we do. But again, and we have to balance that with these body-worn cameras of, you know, making sure we do the right job. But also as a citizen, there's probably a certain amount of privacy that you want to have where you don't want to see yourself on YouTube either. So we're trying to do it just right, and we're doing a pilot program right now.
Yeah, well, look forward to seeing the results of that. Tell us again about the police headquarters, and if are people invited to any sort of open house? Are there any opportunities for people to go inside and see it?
Yep, we're going to have a ribbon cutting on November 2nd at 1 p.m. and then we're going to open the doors and let everybody come inside. And I'll talk quickly about the building because I know we don't have a lot of time, but it's 88,000 square feet. We don't have any boilers or chillers because we'll get our energy from Trigen, or I'm sorry, it's Veolia now. We'll have, you know, the proper interview rooms. We'll have beautiful surfaces that'll last a long time. We'll have workspaces that give us versatility. You know, like if a certain work unit has more crime or less crime, we have these open concept squad rooms where our spaces are defined with furniture and not by walls. And so this building really will give us an opportunity to do our job better. And also, I think when the citizens come in and see what kind of facility, I think it'll give them more confidence in us too when they see how nice it is. And it really is nice, Mayor. When you walk into this new building, there's a certain wow factor to it. It's really a beautiful city building. And like you said, it goes back to 2007 when the citizens supported us.
Tom Jester is the Deputy Chief in charge of operations at the Oklahoma City Police Department. Thanks, Tom, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I hope the citizens will get down and take advantage of opportunities to visit their new police station in downtown Oklahoma City. We'll have more on the Mayor's Magazine after this.
That's a wrap, Rumble.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. In this segment, we're going to remind you that it's December and time for the Downtown in December festivities. And here representing downtown Oklahoma City are a couple of people from the marketing department, Jill Brown-Delosier and Stacy Sanger. Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine, Jill.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and Stacy, I don't think you've been on our show before, have you?
I came at the last minute last year.
Okay.
So second year.
So you're a veteran of
I'm
the
a
Mayor's
vet
Magazine.
now, yeah.
Well, this is an exciting time because people get reminded about all the different events that go on downtown, and and when you come down here, it kind of seems overwhelming. And so I like to give people kind of some advance notice, so they already have a couple of things in their mind that they know they want to do. They'll probably do a couple other things they hadn't planned, but we give them a couple of things that they know they want to do when they get down here, because sometimes people don't visit downtown very often, and they kind of like to have a direction. All right, so let's broadly about downtown in December. Jill, how long have we been doing this?
This is the 14th year for Downtown in December. And this year there are 28 total events. So like you said, it keeps growing every year.
When we started, were we just doing ice skating?
There was ice skating, there was a Christmas parade at that time.
Okay.
And a couple of other smaller events.
All right.
Light displays.
I remember, we were, as I recall, we were doing some ice skating, and it was over in front of the Civic Center at the time with the portable, and it seemed so cool. I mean, we were actually had outside events downtown, and we were skating outside. All those things were so brand new to us. At the time, it's like when we put water in the river. I mean, you wouldn't think that would be such a revelation, but we're like high-fiving over these relatively simple things that now we take for granted. Well, it has grown tremendously. And do you have any numbers, or can you wow me with any statistics that say, well, the first year we had so many people coming, and now we have so many?
We know from ticketed events like the ice rink and snow tubing and things like that, that we had about 150,000 people come downtown just for Downtown in December activities last year. But we know that it's even greater than that with all the people coming to see the lights and participate in other free activities.
Right. So if grandparents bring their kids down for the snow tubing, the only ones you've got the tickets sold, but you don't know how many other people came in that car and were a part of the the festivities. And as you said, some people want to come down and just see the Christmas decorations around the Devon Tower and the other aspects of downtown, and of course the Christmas tree. Well, let's start with what I mentioned earlier, and that's the ice rink, because it is just as popular as it's ever been, but it's no longer in front of the Civic Center. And Stacy, I'll let you kind of sell the ice skating. Why should people come down and experience the ice skating downtown?
The Devon Ice Rink has moved to the Myriad Gardens, so it's right in the middle of all those unbelievable light displays on the trees and all around the gardens, and right across the street from Devon's huge ornaments that are really a spectacle in and of themselves. So it's a blast. There's a DJ on Saturday nights out there, and it's a blast. It's great time.
Yeah. So what temperature if you were going skating, what temperature would you want it to be when you chose the day to go? Because we get all sorts of different weather in Oklahoma.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it can be 75 and people are thinking, I can't go ice skating.
I'm a terrible ice skater,
Okay.
first of all. So as long as there's no wind, I'm in better shape. 50, 45, 50
40,
degrees?
50. So the ice
It's a
is going to
perfect
stay
day.
frozen.
Yes.
You're going to be able to dress comfortably. But the fact that you're exercising when you're ice skating, and so you're heating up. And I always overdress when I ice skate because it's cold out and I'm kind of a wimp. And so I have all this sun. Then I start ice skating and I'm burning up and I'm throwing my coats off and then I'm cold and I'm sweating and I never can handle it well. So I'm trying to get some advice on the proper temperature when I go out. Okay, Devon's Saturdays with Santa. I love this event.
It's really great. It's grown over the past few years. It started out as just a really small event on Saturdays. Kids can come see Santa and take photos, but it has moved inside the Devon Energy Center now, and they have live music and crafts and, of course, visits with Santa. And Myriad Gardens has partnered, so there are also activities happening in the gardens on Saturdays as well.
And what's the cost of getting your picture with Santa?
It's free.
That's my favorite part. Because see, I raised 3 boys, as you know, and you know, when I was raising them, you know, we'd go to the mall and we'd stand in a long line, and then, you know, you'd pay. And not that I'm complaining about paying, but standing in line and then paying for the privilege of standing in line is something that doesn't excite me too much. But nonetheless, you know, that was the experience. And here, you know, with a sponsor, we offer basically pictures with Santa. I mean, you take the pictures, but everybody has a camera now, you know, on their phone,
Right.
seemingly. And it's absolutely free. And so what a great way to spend a holiday with your kids, and at the same time, you know, get a picture, and that's money you can save on a present, you know, for somebody that otherwise wouldn't have gotten one.
Definitely. And they're so high tech now that you just put your name on a list and they text you when you're ready.
That's cool.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, that didn't happen in the mall in 1985, I assure you. All right, the Sandridge Santa Run. What's that, Stacy?
The Sandridge Santa Run is back for its 10th year.
Think about.
It's really getting up there. It is a blast. Everyone dresses up in holiday costumes and comes running through the streets of downtown. I did this as a participant before I worked for downtown Oklahoma City and ran right next to an elf and a full Christmas tree. So it really is a spectacle. It's
Surely
an
you
amazing
can outrun the Christmas tree, Stacy.
I
That
don't know.
would
It's
be
pretty close.
embarrassing
It
if you
was
can't
close.
outrun a Christmas tree.
But then inside Leadership Square, there's lots of family-friendly activities. Face painting, I think there's a coloring station this year, a make-your-own trail mix bar, bounce house, live music. It's a great time.
Okay. And Jill, the water taxis, the canal boats is what
Yes.
people would probably recognize them. There's discounted, even free trips available during this time of
Yeah,
year.
during the holidays, as part of Downtown in December, the Business Improvement District actually sponsors free water taxi rides Thursday through Sunday nights from the day after Thanksgiving until Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and so again, that's kind of weather reliant. But if it's a nice day, and we'll probably have some nice days in that time frame, you can save quite a bit of money because riding the canal is not overly expensive if you're going by yourself. But if you're going with 4 or 5 people, that's lunch that you just spent. And so to be able to do that free allows you again those holiday dollars to do something else with your family. So again, I love the idea that we're not only making this family friendly, but we're keeping the cost down so that everyone can afford it. If you can't afford free, then there are other issues in your life. All right, Snow Tubing Winter Festival. That's over at the ballpark, I would assume. Yeah.
Yes.
So Stacy, tell us about that.
In the past, it's just been snow tubing at the Dodger Stadium, but this year they're making it truly a festival atmosphere. There's going to be lots of kids' activities, different things for parents and kids to take place.
All right, and one event that I look forward to every year is the tree lighting. Of course, it's not the first event this year, but it's kind of the symbolic kickoff to the holidays. So, Jill, tell everybody what's going to happen on the day after Thanksgiving downtown.
That Friday after Thanksgiving from 5 to 7 p.m., we have a festival. It's at the ballpark on the Third Base Plaza, and we have food and snacks. Santa will be there and all kinds of games and other activities. And then we light the tree at 6 o'clock with you and Santa go up on stage, and lots of live music and just really great family atmosphere. And then the Thunder game's at 7, so you can just walk right
Thunder
over.
game at 7. So if you're a Thunder fan and you're coming downtown anyway, or you think you want to go to a game during the holidays, grab a ticket for that Friday, day after Thanksgiving, and come down and help us light the tree. It's always fun. And I was joking before we went on camera that every year I get caught because I'll be standing with Santa and some kids, little kids, are like waving to me, and I'll wave back and then have this moment where I realize they're not waving at me. They don't know who the guy in the suit is, but he's standing next to Santa Claus, and so he must be okay. But they're just so excited to see Santa because they've read about him and they see him, and it's been a year since he's been in their lives, and it's a really fun thing for kids. And so bring your kids down the Friday after Thanksgiving and be part of the tree lighting celebration. Jill and Stacy, thanks for coming on the Mayor's Magazine. I wish we had more time, but I know there's a website information. People can get more information.
DowntownInDecember.com.
All right. And with that, we're going to sign off this edition of the Mayor's Magazine. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege once again to be a part of this show, and I look forward to talking to you again next month.